Yeah.
Okay, Justin just joined. I didn't see that. Sorry.
Oh, yep, I'm on here.
You gonna
Okay.
need me to stay on then, Mark?
Yes. Yep, we do.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah, we need you, Dave.
All right, Daphne, I will stay.
You're being pressed into service today.
Very good.
Off the bench.
Yeah, that's right.
Good sixth man.
The Badgers could have used you a couple of weeks ago. But
No,
we-
for God's sake.
Yeah.
I could park cars, that'd be about it.
Okay, we do have a quorum and it is just after 5. So
Okay.
Paul, I'd like to
Here
get
we
started.
go.
All right.
So are you guys seeing us, Mac and Nancy?
We don't see you, but we hear you.
We can hear
Oh,
you.
'cause my camera should be on.
Okay,
There's
so
a place where you click that has an X through the video. And if you click that, you get on.
X through the video. Start video.
it's
No.
working.
There you go.
So at
Okay.
this point, I'd like to call the zoning board of appeals to order at 5:02 on March 31st. We do have a quorum. And the first order of business would be to approve the minutes from the last zoning board meeting. Has everyone had an opportunity to review them?
I have.
Yes.
I'll
Does
make a
any-
motion to approve.
Okay, so Mark made a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Justin seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
I,
I,
Okay, the minutes are approved from the last zoning board meeting.
And Paul, I'll just note for the record that Katie Olson has joined the meeting as
Okay.
well. So that was 5.
Or Katie Nelson.
Nelson.
Or Katie Nelson. Did I say Katie Olson? I'm sorry.
Katie Nelson.
Really not that easy to mix up. No, it's very easy with Kathy Olson and Katie Nelson.
I don't think I've ever done that before, but maybe I have. Sorry about that.
No, not a problem. Thanks. I don't know if you need me tonight. I'm the alternate.
You are the 5th member, but I've heard that you may be abstaining. Is that your intent? In which
Yes.
case, then if that's your intent, then you are excused.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, Mac and Nancy. See you guys.
See ya.
All
All
right,
right.
take care.
Daphne, would you please read the agenda for this evening?
Yeah, I can. So tonight the meeting is for 7412 Elmwood Avenue. The owners Martin and Nancy Kamsher are requesting a variance from the maximum building height of a detached building for a storage building. They're requesting approval to continue building their existing storage building with a new roof line that measures 22 feet to the peak of the roof. And in our ordinances, we generally only allow up to 15 feet. The property was previously granted a variance for the height of the storage building of 22 feet on the basis of putting rooftop solar on the south end in 2004. The applicants have changed the slope of the roof and are no longer putting solar on the south end. Therefore, we determined that they needed to get a variance for that.
Okay, thank you, Daphne. And then if there are other individuals on the call that wish to speak, you will have an opportunity in the public portion after the applicants provide us with a summary of their variance requests. So at this point, it's 5:04, and I'd like to open the public portion of the zoning board meeting. Daphne had just read the agenda item. Mark or Daphne, is there any other information, staff reports from the city regarding this?
We amended the packet after it was posted, and I noted that to you earlier today. We received additional information from the applicants, a couple photos. We also, since I uploaded the public comment, we have one additional public comment. Why don't I just quickly mention that so it's part of the record?
Okay.
If that's okay with you. We
Yes, it
have,
is.
we received, in addition to the statements that are in the packet, which are from Aaron Hotz, 7403 Elmwood Avenue, Hami Nugani, who owns several properties downtown Middleton, Mike Leiferman, and no address provided, but does not live or does not own property contiguous to the site. And then Anita Ginther, also no address, but no property contiguous to the site. We have those four all speaking in support, or all writing in support. We also received communication from Suzanne and Rick Jacobs, 1811 Middleton Street. And there, since I didn't provide it to you, I will just read it quickly. It says, they feel the request for the variance of 22-foot storage building roof without the solar panels is just fine. We appreciate the home's character and unique charm it offers to the neighborhood, and the storage building is in keeping with that. Additionally, it looks interesting to have some varied heights and structures in the area. These city lots are pretty small in general. It seems reasonable and considerate for the city to allow the owners some leeway in the use of their property. So that's their statement.
Okay.
That's all
Thank
we
you.
have to supplement the packet.
Okay, thank you, Mark. At this point, if the applicants or representatives are available to present your request, please state your name and then you can proceed with your presentation.
Nancy Campshire. Go ahead, Mac.
Yeah, Mac. So you have our written statement. That's we have no changes there.
It
Well,
would
would
be
you,
helpful. Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
You can certainly take this time then now to go through the drawings that you submitted and explain to us the changes from the 2004 approval, I believe.
Okay,
And if I'm not mistaken, this structure is already built and you're modifying it, correct?
Yes, we're hoping to
Okay.
get the roof on it
Okay.
and then do interior work and staircase. I mean, yeah, there's more work.
so basically, after we put the roof on of the original design, we decided that it wasn't a usable space for us. And so we changed it, and lo and behold, we didn't know that we would have to, because we didn't change the height of the building. We didn't know that the infill or the front south, that little corner in red, we didn't realize that was going to be an issue. And so it was brought up to us that it was, and so here we are.
So to elaborate, we consider variances in the context of not just setback horizontally, but also there's a vertical component to a structure. And so it wasn't immediately apparent to us. This project has been underway for quite some time. And we recently became aware that this structure wasn't built to, that there was more mass, if you will, within the setback area from what was previously approved. And so therefore we require them to get a variance or to modify the structure, and they obviously are preferring the variance route, understandably.
So that gave us an extra about 25% floor space by doing that, and much more usable headroom. And that's how we ended up where we are. Other than that, there really isn't any changes, a couple different window changes, but that's pretty much it.
One question also that has come up is whether there's some scaffolding or something on the southeast corner. Let me look at what's on the screen here. I think it's on towards the lot line, and is that going to be removed? That was a question that
Oh, of course.
There's no, that's building scaffolding. The only scaffolding shown is would be the north elevation. It's just, it's still, I just would like to extend the back porch there. But I doubt that's an issue. Other than that, the other scaffolding is just for building purposes. And so what you see as the staircase there is what I actually have it built, it's steel. It's just not up.
So for board members who don't know, this structure is built. The roof is done as the change is drawn. And it's got the Grace waterproof on it, but it doesn't have the standing seam metal roof on it. So
That's
basically, yeah, it's built. So, you know, basically we're looking for forgiveness, not permission, I guess.
Yes, I mean, it wasn't purposely done, but we've realized that it's an issue.
Oh, so the modifications to the storage building are built, that triangular area in red that you indicated, that's currently built.
Yes,
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
could you go to the photo towards the end of the packet? That might be helpful for everybody to.
yeah, there
26
you go.
or somewhere there. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mark
so all the
Opitz.
scaffolding, all on the sides are just temporary, just for building purposes.
So you'll note the building with the dot on it, there's about 5 buildings in the immediate neighborhood that are 2-story garages, and there's one 60 feet from our building. There's another one across the street. There's another one at Hamid's across the street. They're all over the place. Yeah, they're all 2-story outbuildings, not attached to the main proper.
Mark Opitz, did we get any input from the neighbor with the 3-car garage? That's Bill Butler, I believe.
He stopped in today and asked a couple questions. One of which was the question about the scaffolding. It's possible he was going to try and monitor the meeting. I don't know if he is. I don't see somebody. Well, let me just check. He wasn't necessarily going to be on a computer, and I don't see him present. So yeah, his questions had to do with just the scaffolding primarily. Daphne, was there anything else?
No, his main concern was the scaffolding, but I believe, Gary, you wanted to give
Yeah,
a
just wanted to make the brief
small
statement.
statement as well.
Should I go?
And the only reason I asked was in the original variance that was granted in 2004, Bill Butler, the neighbor, did have quite a few questions. So I just wanted to make sure that he had an opportunity to address this.
Were most of those questions regarding the setback and the height and anything else that you can recall?
It was written.
Okay.
Somewhere. I just saw it in the packet here. Yeah, actually the description of the meeting from 2004.
Oh, right.
There you go. Daphne's right on it.
It's really,
Yeah,
that's
there
what
it
she
is.
does that
I
stuff.
thought I saw it.
Yeah, well, metal is used in other places in the neighborhood. It's not,
Including his roof.
yeah, including his roof now.
And then down 2 more paragraphs. Butler raised a concern about the height of the building and the commercial feel. Now, these have all been, I guess, okayed when it was when
Approved,
the
right?
original
Okay.
variance was granted. So,
Yeah, I guess that commercial feel is that's just
It's a personal
subjective.
preference.
that's right. That should have nothing to do with it.
Are there other, before we get to the other person in Daphne's office that wishes to speak, are there other questions from board members to the applicants?
Yeah, I just have a question, Paul, and this might be for Daphne or Mark, but when a building permit's pulled, isn't there a time frame for the exterior of the building to be completed?
Typically, I think those usually run 6 months, I think it is. I don't know. I mean, we don't work in the building inspection department, so I'm not sure. I mean, Mac and you could maybe address, and Mac and Nancy, maybe you could address this. Our former building inspector, Scott Ellerson, probably was in contact with you as you were constructing the building, so maybe you could address the question.
Well, yeah, he came around in probably 2005 and measured the building and he said it was within the specifications, and really that's the last we've heard from him. And then, of course, unfortunately, he passed away. But that's basically where it's at.
But you worked on this project over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so
I
did
have.
you do, I guess I think the way I understand our bill, I don't know this for a fact, but I think if you continue to work, it's only when it sits and hasn't been worked on, I think when it lapses, but I'm maybe not reporting that correctly, and I defer to Mark Wolford or somebody who knows our permitting. Maybe you know that better.
Yeah, I think there is a limit. I think it's a year, but
Yeah, I don't
think
know off the
to-
top of my head, but
I think
obviously there's been, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think to continue building, it's just a simple matter of informing the building department, inspection department. So I don't
Dave,
know.
I can't answer your question exactly, but that's not our department. The building inspector granted quite a bit of leeway here. We do complaint-based enforcement. I would imagine we would have heard about it. Perhaps the alderperson for the area would have heard about it if there had been issues. And so we do not go looking for problems or violations. But once we become aware of them, then we bring them to the attention. If it's something that we do complaint-based enforcement, but if something's not built according to an approval, then we require this type of remedy as we are pursuing tonight.
Very good. I guess if there would have been an issue, one of the neighbors would have been in contact with you.
I would imagine so.
We're open to speaking to any neighbors. We do speak to our neighbors all the time.
All right, Daphne, you have a gentleman that wants to speak?
Yeah, my name's Gary Schmerler. I'm representing the house on the other side, the Aspire House at 7418 and 7420. We have no issue with what Mac is doing and how he's going about it whatsoever. The reason that I came here is just to put on the record that I don't know what the use of this building is going to be, but there is an easement on a shared driveway that, we don't have an issue. He's been using that as a construction entrance, and I'm assuming that when he's done with the building, that will no longer be required or be able to be used. And I just wanted to put that out there. We also, a couple of years ago, replaced the driveway, and our house is the one that picked up that entire expense, as well as we do all the upkeep on the driveway with the plowing service. So Mac and Nancy have not participated and do not participate in any of that. And so but we're in support of what he's trying to do. No issue at all.
How do you spell your name for the record, Jerry?
It's Schmerler.
SH or SCH?
SH.
SHM?
ERLER.
Thank you. And it's Jerry, Jerry?
GARY.
Oh, Gary.
Yes.
Sorry. Got it. Thank you.
Sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
I wore a mask so long I can't hear very well anymore.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Gary.
Do other board members have any other questions for the applicants?
Well, yeah, I do. Just out of curiosity, how long has this project been going on?
It was approved in 2004.
Mhm.
In summertime, I guess, somewhere around there.
When did you start building, I think is what he's asking.
Oh, we started building
2004.
2004. It was pretty much, the majority of it was complete in 2005, except for the roof.
So we rented this property for 10 years before we were able to buy it. And we started building it with the idea that perhaps we would move it if we had to move from here. So it's, yeah. It's been a while.
So we've owned the place since 2002. lived here since 2000 or 1992.
So when you applied for the variance and received it, you owned the property at that point.
Yes, of course.
And I was just asking, just get a timeline to see how long it's been up. And
It's
whether,
been up,
you know,
that's the timeline.
okay, so that scaffold's been there for 16
Well,
years?
the scaffolding, no, not the scaffolding in the front of the building, only basically it's a porch going around it
Mhm.
with a steel structure under it and a deck. And it was intended to use as for building.
Mhm.
And there's been a temporary roof over it, which is actually a little bit taller than what exists now and about the same footprint. So I was able to build a new roof with the temporary roof over it, which was made of vinyl building tarp or vinyl sign tarp, billboard.
Mhm.
Worked out great.
Do you have electricity to it?
I do.
Has it been inspected?
No, it hasn't.
When is the last inspection that you had?
When Scott was around in
Scott Ellerson
2005.
measured it? Okay. Hmm. Okay.
Well, did you
Yeah.
inspect it for roughing or was that for final, that's when you had everything wired?
I think we were just
I
using
just had
extension
a-
cords.
I've always used an extension cord. I just have the conduit, 2-inch conduit in the ground of the building. So that, I need to pull a permit on that and have it inspected.
Our current building inspector has been in the property. He met with me there on site. When was that, Mac? Month and a half ago?
Couple months ago, yeah.
Couple months ago. So he's been in there, but I don't know that that qualified as a formal inspection. But the current building inspector has been there.
Right, and the front part, which I used as a potting shed and storage for gardening things, doesn't have any electricity at this point. The back tool shed, we just have lights.
No, there's
No.
no power in the building other than
Oh,
there's a distribution panel that I put in, but there's no power in the building, period. Just power to the distribution panel and one outlet on the outside for an extension cord.
you put relaxing space.
Well, that's interesting to me. I'm just not even sure, Mark Opitz, if they even, it's called a shed, and yet it has
Right.
livable space.
Well, not,
Does it require a certificate of occupancy for people to actually be in it?
oh, sorry, it's just space for our family to use.
Uh-huh.
It's not space for anyone to live there. Place to have a studio, to do yoga, artwork. We have a inside swing that we want to put in for our grandkids. Just kind of a more quiet hangout place, meditation.
There's tool storage down below in the gardening prep area in front. And we garden right in all around the property.
Well, I understand your use. It's just that if people are in it and doing things in it, I'm not sure whether it has to be passed by the inspection department before it's legal to actually do that. I don't know if that's what we should be addressing right now, but it's something that Mark Opitz, maybe you should.
I'm open to it.
Yeah.
It's not an issue. I don't
I'm
do
not saying it's-
self-work, we'll put it that way.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not safe probably, but you know, that's the whole reason we get inspections.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah,
to
I
make sure.
understand.
You know, I have a question for Mac and Nancy. Everything goes according to plan here. What is your goal to have this thing completed, at least from the outside? What would
Another,
be the frame?
I'd say another 15 years.
Stop that. Yeah. Jeez.
Good one, Matt.
I have the steel already purchased for the standing seam. I've got it pre-cut, and that's just sitting in my warehouse, ready to go up. And
We have
the interior is
windows, we
Well,
have
mostly
siding, we have
done.
roofing,
Yep.
and we have a staircase to install.
Yeah, and I guess my only concern is not the inside, but the outside. So, and
Yeah,
then I
gotcha.
assume you're doing all the construction yourself?
I am. I
With a
did.
little help.
I did hire some help to pound out the roof. That one section, after I had the building built underneath it, when we actually did the roofing, I hired some friends to help, and that's the only hired help I've had.
Sure.
And so my son helps me out once in a while. You've probably, he did, for instance, he built Hamid's buildings across the way. He helps me out
Yeah.
once in a while.
Okay.
So would you expect that the outside would be 100% complete, like within 12 months?
Within a year, yes.
Okay, that's at least,
I hope to do it. I hope to do it before then, but
Yeah.
I know how things go.
sure.
Hey, I have a question about the hardship statements. Most of it relies back to, it's kind of already built, and you were unaware of the need for to get a new variance. And the original hardship, the reason why it was granted was for solar angle purposes on the back of the building, which is no longer the case. So I guess I'm wondering, like you told us what is happening in the space, but I guess I'm wondering what the immediate hardship is, other than obvious reasons that the building's already built. But like going back to the original, it doesn't meet the hardship there. So I'm wondering what if it wasn't built and you wanted this, what would the hardship be, I guess?
That we need storage space. Our single car garage is very small, and we need storage for tools and gardening things.
Yeah, but that
And-
doesn't affect the upstairs, Nancy.
Oh, okay.
The upstairs, just want to be able to utilize that space. We've put a lot of time and energy into it, and ultimately, when we wanted to put up we would be water, H2O or hot water collectors. We had the pitch at a much different, you can see it on the drawing what the pitch was, 55 degrees. And we just decided over time that, and it's been over time that yeah, you can see it there. Thank you. So you can see that a 5-foot person, we lost basically 25% of the space. So by raising the roof up, that gives us more floor space, I guess, and that's the hardship, was not having the floor space.
You should have known that headroom space problem was a problem from the day one when the plan was drawn.
Exactly, but we didn't.
Mhm.
We weren't inside of the space and feeling it and realizing the use for it.
It's kind of hard to tell. Is this the same height as your house proper? Is it about the same height?
The same
It
height.
looks similar from the drawing, but it's hand sketched, so I
Yeah.
don't know.
It's the same height. It's the same footprint. Nothing's changed.
Sorry, from your house where you reside, is it
Yes.
about that height?
And the roof angle is pretty much the same.
The house is 30, 35, 30, 32 to 35 feet.
Okay, so the house is taller than this,
Yes,
this building. Okay.
definitely.
And you mentioned that you have a 1-car garage.
Yes, we do have a 1-car garage and my hope is to get this building finished up so I can get a new permit to build a garage. That's the reality for me.
Mark, is there a number of ancillary buildings the property can have?
No.
Okay.
Well. You're allowed a shed up to 700 square feet, which is obviously very large. You can have a detached garage. And you can have a detached storage building. So, there's not in other words, the presence of 2 outbuildings on the site, one being a garage, one being the shed slash storage building. There's no prohibition against that, as long as all structures don't add up to more than 35% lot coverage.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and that was my question, Mark. I did go through the old packet from 2004. Was there any indication in there as to lot area coverage?
I haven't reviewed it as recently as Daphne has. Maybe she can answer that.
Yeah, so I took a look at the lot coverage and I think with the shed, it's about like 1625 square feet. And the total lot, I believe is like 7,000 square feet. So, and the 1625 includes the shed and the detached garage, I believe. I don't know if I counted the detached garage, but
And the house.
yeah, and the house. But anyway, all 3 of those buildings are within the 35% lot coverage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But is it close? In other words, if he wants to build a 2-car garage, is there a chance it might put it over?
We'll have to look.
Yeah, I don't think there could be a 2-car garage. Maybe, if they wanted to widen their 1-car garage a little bit, there's like a little bit more lee room there, but yeah, nothing too much more than that.
We'll make that determination when we get the site plan. They will need to
Yeah,
provide a
that's-
site plan showing existing conditions and we'll make that determination then.
Yeah,
Something like
that's
that.
in the future. We want to get this completed. That's really our hope.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up, just to give you Nancy and Mac a heads up. If you're
Mhm.
thinking that, you're gonna get a big 2-car garage, you might have kind of,
Not a 2-car garage.
okay,
Oh,
still looking at putting a sod roof on it?
No,
I don't know.
that's Mac's idea.
We don't know.
They're held in mold.
My basic thoughts are to widen it. It's like 16 or 17 feet wide now. I'd like to widen it probably to about 20 feet and probably not much than the same depth would be. I'd probably prefer to move it back a little bit more where my truck is but not much bigger than the floor space the existing one is.
Yeah, that's not before us tonight, so I would.
It's not, no.
Right.
We're still talking that one out.
Okay.
Are there other questions for the applicants? Any other members that are on the call that wish to speak?
What, I guess I had,
Go ahead.
do you know the approximate size of your existing house? And is there limitations to that size of house that prevents you to having some of these functions occur in your house proper, like the yoga studio that you were mentioning? Is there a hardship there that you don't, the size of the lot, the size of the existing house
Mhm. It's just more a matter of having a space that's more dedicated to more quiet and calm activities. Our house tends to be pretty busy. There's things going on, people come and go. So that's more for me to have a space where I can study, a place I can do yoga, a place I can meditate, set up a studio of my own. So that's the reason for that. Yes, we don't have room for that in our house.
Thanks.
Any other comments, questions? If not, then I will close the public portion of the hearing, and then we can discuss as a board at 5:36. So I see where you're going with the hardship, Justin. And I kind of agree with you. It seems like we have a case here where someone received a variance, and at the time when they made the change, they didn't think they needed to get a variance for that added mass. So as Mark mentioned in the beginning, it's a matter of asking for forgiveness and not for permission.
And the reason I asked how long it's been up there is if it's been up there for 12 years or whatever, I would
Right.
hope that the neighbors would have started complaining by now if there was any problem. So I'm thinking that the neighbors are pretty much okay with it.
Right.
We haven't had any complaints. Well, the one, Bill, about the scaffolding, which I don't know if he talked to
No, he's
Matt
never
about
talked to
that,
us.
but he just, if it bothered him, I wasn't aware. It's temporary and it was always meant to be temporary, just a place to work, kind of a staging area, and also for materials.
And how
Right.
long has that scaffold been up there? The scaffolding been there?
Since the beginning of the
Okay.
second, when I put up the second story.
Okay.
So it's, steel brackets from, I used to bring in machinery and containers, and they were brackets when we'd put a second deck on inside of a container. So they're heavy duty, and they worked out fine for that. They bolted them to the side of the building, and when I'm done with them, I'll unbolt them.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. I mean, that it sounds like that roof has been up for a number of years.
Well, this is kind of a poser for me. What really complicates it for me is the fact that they did get permission or a variance
Mhm.
to go to the height that they're at, and they haven't gone any higher. And now it becomes more a case of volume. And if volume is not that big of a thing, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm leaning towards saying it's okay.
Well, I keep trying to ask myself, looking at this, had this variance come through with the configuration it's currently in, would we be inclined to grant the variance?
The hard thing I have is that the hardship that was listed in the original variance no longer exists.
Mhm.
And so,
Yeah, it's such a, it's just a matter of a large debt to put in the solar collectors. And at this time, we just haven't decided, well, we're still talking about it, haven't decided to do it or not do it, but probably leaning towards not.
I think I would agree
Thank
with Mark in this. The part that makes me a little more comfortable is that the new addition, the volume increase, is toward the applicant's home and not to a neighbor. So it really impacts them more than it will the neighbor. The rest of it, the hardship thing, I think that's kind of said and done. So I guess I'm in kind of support of this. I could support this in the fact that I think there should be a time frame that this outside is done and those scaffoldings are gone. It's time to put this neighborhood back to a residential look, in my mind.
I definitely agree, totally.
To be technical, they could put a small 2x4 electric panel on the roof, solar panel on the roof,
Right.
and they would
That's
have,
what I say.
and it would
Well,
have solar
it
power.
was per the angle. It wasn't that was the hardship, is that they required that angle.
Yeah.
Well,
Was there.
Yeah, for
That's
different
what it
types
says
of-
in the minutes.
Yeah, for
from-
different types of collectors, I mean, technology has advanced in this time. And so we just think that doing the collectors that would heat water are just not as, would not be as effective as actually generating electricity to feed back into the grid. But
But I don't want to be committed to that.
Thank you. We are discussing as a board right now, so
Oh, okay, I'm
we
sorry.
can't talk.
that's okay. I'm just
If we-
trying to limit the back and forth.
Do you want us
because-
to be here? We can scoot.
No, you stay on the call. Thank you.
By the way, when we started this out, I wanted to thank you folks for being here, especially at lunch times or at dinner time. And so I'm hoping you're mellow.
Not as hungry as Mac. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
All right, so from basically from what I call the back of the building, because on the right of this elevation right here, that faces the street. You're looking at it from the backyard of the house. So that's actually a side elevation. It looks to me like the front and the rear elevations, basically visually, haven't really changed much as far as volume. I mean, the roof was at a 43 degree or whatever they wanted to line up with the sun. And now it's higher, but it's still, if you're looking straight at it, it's the same, you're seeing the same volume. Where the only place it changes is on the two side elevations. It's just,
I will add that in my 20+ years working with the city, it is not uncommon for a property owner to be to not understand that volume is a component of a variance.
mhm.
In this case, the height stays the same, the footprint stays the same. And I can see how a resident would say, well, I'm still operating within the confines of setback and height, which is what the parameters of the variance were. So I do understand how that happens. And one of the things we've done over the years is we've made sure that the motions reflect, that's why I added to the motions years ago, the statement to be approved as presented at the meeting, or, that's, I don't remember the language I use exactly, but you've seen it before in the minutes where you approve a specific project and configuration. It's just hard to describe it all beyond just setback and height. So anyway, I'm agreeing with them that it's not uncommon to be confused about or to not understand, have a full understanding of language.
Any other discussion? I tend to agree with, all the comments made. I can see how I don't want to say error, but I can see how, the change was made thinking they were still well within the requirements of the original variance request. Is there any other discussion? If
Ready
there
for a
is-
motion, Paul?
I was just going to ask that if there's no other discussion, does someone want to make a motion?
I would recommend approval, provided the construction be on the exterior completed within 12 months of this date.
I don't know if we have the power to actually say that. Do we, Mark?
I would be uncomfortable with that too,
Yeah.
because the variances run with the land, and
Yep.
I think you can make that known as a concern, and certainly what we will do is follow up with their building inspector, who, by the way, is quite actively monitors construction sites in the city. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, that's fine. That's beyond the scope of what we're
Yeah.
here for tonight. So I would adjust my motion, do recommend approval of the variance.
I do have one question for you, Mark, before we, ask for a second. To Justin's point about the original hardship. Now, this is kind of a gray area to me, I guess, because I haven't, been on the board when this has occurred. So there is the original hardship, right? And now they were granted the variance. They came in and they're basically getting approval for this change. Does that previous hardship still remain intact, or do we not have to consider that in approval this time?
I think the fact that the circumstance, can you go to the original one, Daphne, the language, please?
For the minutes,
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's 2004.
Yeah, so the hardship was based entirely on the solar energy. I guess I would feel more comfortable if you, since that's no longer really the rationale. I heard Nancy make the statement about that the activities cannot take, that that the storage and other, that the use of the property of the building cannot take place in existing residence. That's getting at maybe a hardship. It's a pretty lenient interpretation, to be honest, but I think also including a statement that you would grant the variance without altering, recognizing there's no change in the overall height and footprint of the structure. I think that should be part of the statement.
Okay.
Mention the change is minor.
Yeah.
Good point.
I think there hasn't been well, that's not usually the basis for granting hardship or granting variance, but I guess I would suggest that the motion include that language, that it's no change to the height, overall height and footprint. The change to the building mass is minor, or change in volume, building volume. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Is
Minor alteration to the originally approved plan.
The originally
Put it that way.
approved plan.
Yeah, that's good verbiage, Mark.
And that the uses that the use of the structure are not uses that can take place in the existing building.
Yeah, that's kind of crap, but
Well,
excuse the legal term, but
I
yeah,
don't know. I mean,
I think we're good.
Chances are, since no neighbors are opposing this, that any decision is always appealable in the court of law. So that's why this is a concern. Just explaining to Mac and Nancy why the board's trying to protect they're trying to protect the city's decision and your request, and make sure it's justified, so that it withstands any discretion, any review by others. So that's the concern here. So I think if you say it's just to grant the revised variance as requested, based on that there's no change. Oops, shoot, I just deleted. Okay.
Minor.
Based on that, there is no change to the height and footprint. The change in the building volume is minor. It's a minor alteration to the originally approved plan.
There you go.
You just want to leave it at that? Okay, you want to leave it at that? That's fine.
Yeah, I'll second that. My bigger concern is that they get it inspected and get it done. And that's all not in our,
Yeah, that's on the building inspector, right?
That's for Mark to talk to the building.
We'll make sure that I can add that as a comment, the timeliness of completion and inspection. Advise.
Board of Appeals is concerned that that it's hasn't been completed. Because quite honestly, kids could come and climb up that scaffold and fall off.
Okay, I've
Oh, yeah.
added a statement in the
I agree. We're keen on getting, once the roof is up, the side scaffolding, I'll probably leave that up until I've got it sided. But all that's very helpful in moving the project along.
Thank you. So we had a motion by Dave and, Mark has the updated text. Mark, did you second that motion?
Yeah, I second it.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Both. Aye.
And did we have one opposed?
I haven't said nay yet, but I will say nay.
So that
Just
was-
to clarify, who is voting? Because I see that we have, I think John Aronica has
Yep.
joined it, but although he joined in progress, I don't know exactly when you joined. Did you vote, John?
I just voted.
Okay.
I
So
just
you-
voted yes.
Okay, you are participating. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
I
Okay,
read
so
all the
that was-
documents and listened to the discussion.
that's fine. I just wanted to note it for the
Okay.
record, so.
So that was 4 in favor and 1 nay. So
Correct.
then the variance passes.
The revised variance has been approved. Yep.
Yes. Okay, so the public or the variance passes at 5:52. Is there any other business by board members?
We could quickly ask, Daphne, do we have another meeting scheduled? Or have you?
No, no,
is
we
there-
have not received any variance requests and have
Okay.
not scheduled any other meeting.
Okay. I always like to ask, just since we have everybody here.
Okay, thanks, Mark. If there's no other business, does someone make a motion to adjourn?
Thank you, guys.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, all in
didn't-
favor?
I don't know who made
Aye.
them.
Just one comment to Mac. Don't be getting up on that roof. You're too old for that.
You know,
I think
both
you
of
just got it. I
Nancy's-
think you
Yeah,
just got
get
it.
leaf
balanced.
guard gutters.
Nancy's 72 and I'm 73, and I put in a good week every week, and keeps me active. I like doing it. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
if
but
it
I
was
mean,
like-
I've seen people our age and I'm 71, so I've seen people our age take falls off of a roof and they don't
Safety
recover.
first.
Yep,
Safety.
I understand.
Be careful.
Who made the motion? Who made the motion to adjourn?
It was John.
John, and then who seconded?
Dave seconded.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Okay,
Then
thank you,
we're on.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
All
Bye-bye.
right, thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.